Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so for this quest here, it brings us back into the Gatekeeper's Grove, which you can access through the harbor there. And this is actually a quest called White Plume Mountain. It's actually kind of one of my favorites here. I know I say that a lot, but if I had to list actual favorites, this would definitely be in my top 5. I just really like the way that the quest is done. There's a lot of unique concepts to it, such as riddles and, not so many puzzles, but you got some riddles and then a few unique fight mechanics, which I'll get to when we get to those stages there.
Somewhere deep underground.
Now, the quest itself.
A corpse greets you with an empty stare. Something is clutched in its hand.
Alright, so the quest itself is a bit of a longer one. And there is a lot of optionals and a lot of good experience out of here as well. Or, sorry, not experience, good loot.
To the east lies a room filled with treasure. Inside, you can see the codex page sitting on a pedestal. But access to the treasure chamber is blocked behind 3 magical seals. Each seal bears the symbol of a weapon. A sword, a hammer, and a trident.
Alright. So, as soon as you enter, as you can imagine, here's your end loot. So if you have anybody who's piking, or, anybody in your group who, honestly, if you're going to pike, ask. But if you have anybody in your group who's piking, they're right next to the start, so they don't have to worry about running through the entire thing to get the end loot. Now, besides the end loot, a lot of the other chests throughout the quest can also have named items as well. So first thing here, we want to approach the Gyno Sphinx.
A regal creature waits for you in the water here.
And he's going to ask us a riddle.
With both sadness and wisdom.
Now,
Greetings, challenger.
the riddle does change. There's a few different riddles here.
Please approach. The Sphinx clears her throat and begins her challenge in a solemn tone.
Double my number, I'm less than a score.
My challenge.
Half my number is less than 4.
Answer true and you may pass. Answer
Add 1 to my double when bakers are near. So that one right there, add 1 to my double when bakers are near. That'd be 13, subtract 1, half of that is 6. So, double my number, I'm less than a score, yes. Half my number is less than 4, that's 3, yeah, so it would be 6. So, they do have different ones. Again, if you're not sure, you can always take your time, check out the wiki. But this one here is 6.
The barrier blocking your way fades in a shimmer of light, and your adventure continues.
Once we reach that point, we're at a 3 different halls here. Each one, as you see right above it, it does have a different weapon. That's the crest that you get down each one. So I'm going to start down here with the hammers. So the first thing to note is this green slime. I'm not sure if you can see the outline there.
Slime covers the floor here.
It's kind of moving.
Something about it gives you
If
a
you
bad
touch it, like this, here,
stings the souls of
you
your
get a green slime.
down.
So you want to use a cure disease to cure it. The other thing you can do is, if you have any type of fire, so fireball, anything like that, you can actually hit them with it.
The green slime
And
proves to be
it'll
quite
instantly
flammable.
kill them
It burns away quick,
and burn it
even
away.
in this dank cave.
So it's, really enjoyed that mechanic there. Kind of just lets you use fire to completely burn it away. I don't usually play with music on. That was some nice battle music they had. Alright. Oh, And I got turned around. Of course I did. Alright, so this section here, again, it branches off. To the north here, we have a door. And the door actually has a lock. So if you have lock picking abilities, you can actually pick the lock like that and then proceed that way there. If you don't happen to have a lock picking or anything like that, you can continue proceeding to the east down into this room here. As you can see right before you enter, a couple of big oozes wanted to make their appearance. Alright, inside of the room here, we have several glass orbs.
Hang inside this room. Try as you might, you can't see what's inside the spheres.
So yeah, you can't.
Would change that.
You really can't see what's inside. You can examine them. They all are identical, and basically you gotta break them. So start with that one. As you break it, it's either going to spawn in a group of enemies, or it'll spawn in a key. So, we're just going to... Man, I'm not having any luck there. And of course it's the last one.
A silver key falls from the broken sphere.
So once you have it, go ahead and pick up your key. And of course you will use this key in order to pick the lock. Or rather unlock the lock at this point, because we have the key. And you'll be able to proceed to the next room. So as you can see, if you have somebody who can pick locks, that definitely will speed things up. Skipping that entire room, which doesn't have any loot, just a lot of fighting. In here, we have another puzzle. And basically, they're going to ask you a riddle. And without going into too much, this riddle is always the same. And it's actually our middle number here. And that's because it's the only non-prime number. Everyone else is only divisible by 1 and themselves, whereas 9 has 3. And they do kind of point this out.
Patchwork creatures regard you impassively, each branded with a glowing number. One of them begins to speak. If you can pick it out, it will serve you, and the others will allow passage.
So you gotta try and figure out which one's different. It's always the center one, it's always number 9 here. And if you don't get it in time, or you pick the wrong one, they'll all be aggressive and start fighting you there. If you get it correct, he's actually going to follow you. And honestly, though he's set to follow you, he's relatively useless and tends to get stuck. So don't really rely on him as an actual fighting companion. Actually, looks like I was about to say it looks like he already got stuck. And he's quite slow. Alright. So this hall here can change. Every now and then you'll have some whites. Sometimes it'll be ogre, a group of like hobgoblins and ogres. It changes up, so just be prepared for that. No matter your opponent, usually the guy, your golem, helps with about there. Continuing on, we have a nasty little pit. Now, that's basically, it's hot sand, so it does cause damage if you touch it. It does cause burn damage. So the way you need to do this room is you head up the ramp. If you do need jump, they do provide you with some jump potions. And basically the objective is to jump across. Now, it is good to have your sound turned on for this, as you can, I'm sure you can hear when the sand is about to erupt. And then all you need to do is wait until it calms down and continue on. So you hear it rumbling. We should get another one. So here we go. It's about to erupt. So we're just gonna wait. And that's it. You want to make it all the way to the end there. Sometimes, as soon as you finish here, there's going to be a group here. Again, random chance. And once you make it across, it does have a nice little lever. If you have any party members who are stuck making it across, they can actually just come down to the bottom here. Check out the creepy mouth and use the ladder here. So the creepy mouth can actually interact with it. Oh, you cannot. Yeah, you'll get to see it at the end, and it is kind of creepy because it is an animated stone mouth. Alright. So moving deeper in to our next room. Let's start with a fight. Wanting to make sure I don't back up too far and off the edge there. Oh, it turns out we ran into a named enemy. So another thing I'll point out, these breakables, not everyone is breakable. Like you'll notice these couple right here, I can't actually target them. They are like fixed things within the quest. So they're not targetable, they're not breakable. Alright, so let's grab our chest. Alright, so in...
An unnatural darkness fills the room ahead. No light is able to penetrate. You feel certain that something deadly awaits you in the blackness.
Alright, so in this room, basically at the end of each path there is a boss fight. Now, this specific fight, it is a vampire, and you're fighting in basically a pitch black room. Now, he has a very specific mechanic. Now, every now and then he's going to place a blue circle on the ground. Do not stand within this circle. I wouldn't even stand like right at the edge. I'd make sure I'm as far out of it as I can get, because it does, after a couple of seconds, basically it does a blast AoE effect, which can in many cases one-shot your character. Um, it's very, very hard to withstand, and I've seen even on epic, like it's just a lot of damage, so it's easiest just to not be in the circle. So I'm just gonna give myself some buffs and head on in. So here it is.
As the darkness engulfs you, a voice whispers in your ear.
Pause my turn. So the easiest way to avoid those circles is to just not stop moving. He'll kind of hit it on whoever's standing still, basically. At a certain point, he will also summon in a bunch of trash enemies. Kind of want him to cast one of those circles on the floor, but I also don't want to stand here forever and let him kill me. Yeah.
The vampire's form crumbles to ash, and the magical darkness recedes. You
All right.
spy a crest marked with the symbol of a hammer in one corner of the room.
So once he dies, as you see, the barrier goes down, the room semi-lights up. Now, it does say that the hammer crest is in the corner. It's actually like right here in the center. Just click it to use it, and it'll add it to a magical backpack, so any member of your party can use it. Clicking on it will add a dimension door, which also adds a bunch of light to the room. You also have a chest and a res and a rest shrine, so you can go ahead and get your abilities back. You'll find one of these at the end of each of these paths. So after each of these boss fights, it does kind of give you a quick little respite before you move on. Once you use the dimension door, unlike if it's your dimension door, it doesn't actually take you to the beginning of the quest. Rather, it takes you right to the beginning of that specific path. So here we are. Now we'll just pick a different path. So now I'm going to pick the center path, which is the tridents, and head on here. Alright, so our first little bit is this room right here. Now, you're actually going to come into a very unique enemy here. It's not completely unique. They did take the skin and the texture from a different enemy. However, these function and have different abilities. So, as we approach, we get a barrier at the door. And on that little island there, we're going to actually run into a couple of Kelpies. Which, you know what, in this case weren't too bad. They do have some pretty brutal spells that they can cast, and they basically just spellcasters and stay over there. Continuing on, we got a nice little horde of ogres. Oh, nice, nat 20. Alright, so now here is actually kind of a fun part. I really enjoy it. So it splits off going left and right. Left is to continue the quest. Right is an optional, and it's like an optional fun house. So it's got one of those rotating barrel entrances. Now on the other side we can see an enemy, which we can actually start attacking. As we do, either attack or move into the spinning tunnel, it will light it on fire. So I always wait for it to burn. You also have two enemies, one of which is actually a werewolf. Once you kill them both, you get a little experience. Now, the tunnel never stops spinning, but it does eventually stop burning. Once it does, feel free to just make your way across. Now, you can't walk properly and your character tends to slide. You can just continue sliding forward, or you could jump. I personally tend to jump. I feel I get through it faster. Once through, on the table you will find a bunch of potions of disease removal. So I'm actually just gonna go ahead and grab those, as well as a diary which just has some flavor text here. It has no bearing whatsoever on the quest, but it is an interesting read if you ever feel like you want to read that. Around this room, there's just a bunch of breakables on the outside, as well as a couple collectibles if you're into that. And then we also have a chest. Now this chest can actually have a few named items in it. One specifically is that bow right there, the Inferno Sniper. For a long bow at level 9, it's actually not too terrible there. And again, this quest does have like a level 30 version of it. And in so there's like level 30 versions of these, like or it's not a level 30, but it's higher, like an epic level version of this quest. It has epic level loot. As well, you can get specific items to level up your sentience items if you happen to have any, which will go further in once we hit level 20. Alright, continuing down the western path here, we have a door. Unlock the door, which doesn't actually require a key. And we have another door. And unlock this door, and guess what? You guessed it, another door. So it goes on like that a couple of times. Once you get through that all, you make your way into a drop. Now, here is the next kind of end boss fight of this. He's the boss fight of this path. Now this one here is a giant crab. Now, as you can see, the walls are actually made of water, but this area has a unique feature, whereas if you or the giant crab attack the wall, it will basically poke holes in the magical barrier and it'll start flooding the water in. But this water is boiling water for some reason, so it will actually start to damage you. As well, it also raises the level. So as you can see, we can actually target the barrier there. It'll actually raise the water level, making it like harder and harder to move around. As you know, walking around in kind of waist deep water makes your character slower. As well, you also take, again, burn damage.
The boiling water of the mountain at bay. The enchanted walls hums and sway with the water currents. The walls don't look very sturdy, so best be careful near them.
So on heroic, he's not too bad. As you see, he's dropping pretty quick. I love that turret because even after they kill it. But so there he is. So you attack the barrier. Didn't really see any water there. He's kind of doing his crab hammer slam. But the objective is don't stay too close to the barrier, so he doesn't hit that. Once you do complete and kill him, any breaks in the wall barrier fix themselves. So there, he just benches that there.
from the chamber.
So again, we
As
have
the
a
water
crest
recedes, you notice a crest marked with a triangle
and another
toward
chest.
the back of the chamber. Another crest claimed. Only one left to go.
So I also want to point out these chests at the end of each of these rooms, so like the vampire chest and now the crab chest, they don't actually contain any named items. So if you're looking for named items, don't bother re-rolling those. They have other chests throughout, so that one with the that we got the Inferno Sniper out of, that would be one right there. We haven't actually come across any of the others, but I'll definitely point them out when we get to them there. Now the ones that can, these optional chests that do contain these named items, they are guaranteed spawns as well, so don't worry about having to run this multiple times in order to even just get them to spawn. You may have to run it several times to get the loot you're looking for, but only once to get that enemy. Alright, so now we're on to our final path, which is the Westernmouth path. So first things first, we have a trap. Now if you're quick enough, you will be able to go into it before the electricity really starts zapping. As well, basically if you're wearing heavy armor, that's where you really got to worry about. But we do have a box here. Disable that, make your way in, you're good, you're safe. A little bit further in, now this section here, we have a bunch of little paths which are going to open up and keep spawning in some undeads here. So I like to, right at the mouth there, you know, cast my turret, basically any crowd controlling effects. Obviously they're undead, so they're, you know, immune to a lot of them, but things like web or whatever else you want to use, any flame walls, anything like that. Just a nice central point to pull them in. Once they are dead, back left corner here, or the northwestern corner, it'll open up the path for us to continue, and again it will have some more of these enemies here for us. That is not. But apparently he had no hit points, okay. I'm really not sure why that happens every now and then, where a Reaper will spawn in with no hit point bar. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I really didn't want to have to deal with the Plague Reaper there. But, I mean, it does break a little bit away from the immersion where they spawn in with nothing. Alright, continuing on, we have a kind of a slithering path here. Now, this is another one I really enjoy. Another game mechanic here. And what it is this floor here is slippery. So there it is, super slippery, but you can actually knock you down. And the objective is to slide all the way across and basically make it to the other end. There is also down in the corner, right there at the corner, there is a trap box which will turn off the spinning blade traps. If you happen to fall and don't make it, there are 3 levers which I'm highlighting here, so one there, one halfway, and then one at the end. Once you pull all of the levers, it will put down a ladder at the other end. So if you're not really good at the slip slide, you can always go out that way. So what I'm going to do here as well is I'm going to hop down and get our trap box. As well, I want to point out, once I hop down there, it's also going to spawn in a bunch of shadows. So here we go. There's our trap box. Now I do want to run over to these levers. Now here they... And I do want to get the traps, lower that down there for you, so it does show you our 3 gems. There's number 2. And then finally, way at the back, ouch. Yeah, watch out for these traps. They're mind traps, so they're phantasmal. As such, they go off of your will save, not a reflex save. And 3, so there's the ladder. However, I did want to make my way through the trap. So there's also a ladder right here if you happen to fall. You can try it again. Every time you try it, it is easiest if you come back on this platform, because anytime you bump a wall or anything like that, it is going to push a negative, like pushing you away from it, so you'll constantly have to fight against that. And yeah, so the way that they intended for you to do it is to just hop on here and slide across. Now as you're going, you may pick up speed. So there's a little bit of a push there to our right. See, I'm not actually hitting any of the keys, so it's kind of pushing us forward here. Except now we may not have enough momentum to make it, because I stopped. So normally you don't want to actually stop, you want to just let it keep up the momentum. Never actually gone this slow before. Normally I just zip past. So as you can see, it can be a little bit difficult. So I'm gonna actually just go quickly here. I know I can just run to the other end, but really like this path. So here we go. And it does get a little bit trickier towards the end, as they make the path a lot more narrow, as you see right here. But the trick is to keep up that momentum. When you go slow like I was at first, I didn't realize, because I never go slow, is it really does start to work against you, pushing you off to the side. Whereas if you go fast and you just control, use your mouse look and control it that way and just hold down that W key, it really actually makes it a little easier in my opinion. Alright, so on the other end we've got a door there, a door at the other end. So the door to our north here, just gonna quickly open that up here for you guys, kind of is a wall of water.
Stands before you.
Now, you can actually head this way for an optional, and through that path there. However, if you have a detect secret doors or a search right here at this indent, we're actually going to be able to head to the other side. So what I'm going to do after showing you that there is I am going to head through the bubble wall here, just to show you in case you guys don't have that there. So we have some fan blades. If you can swim in the center of them, obviously you don't get hit. If you swim through the blade, well, you just swam through a blade. So it does have some traps there, so just watch yourself. I didn't do too great. Right at the other end, we have an ambush. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. Let's toss one of these on. Now, this ambush does have a named enemy. Now, this named enemy is always up. Oh, the hirelings didn't come. Hold on. I thought I clicked on him. Alright, so there we go. So he will deposit, that water will deposit you right here, right into the thick of it. Yeah. So here we have a chest with some goodies. Now, in this chest, you can loot these. As you can see, I'm also wearing a set of these as well. But yeah, so this is the named item that you can get out of this chest. It's the black opal bracers. They bound to account. They are. You know what? I'm going to pass it to one of my other characters. Alright, so there we are. So to get out, you can use search to search the door here. Or you can simply pull the lever, which will automatically open up the door. Heading further south. Bust right out. Gonna head on through this door. On the other side of this door, around the corner, sorry, we should have another group of enemies. Now, that wall right at that far side, that is the other path that we could have entered in, so that was the secret door there. As well, this named enemy, Gordo, he's always up as well, though that one doesn't actually drop like a chest. He's kind of like the guardian protector. So here's that secret door that we could have entered in. And if you don't have that search, you can always pull the lever to open up the door. So it does give you that option to head through the waterfall and through those traps, or just straight through the wall here. Typically speaking, most groups head through the wall and just head up and around, completely avoiding those blade traps. Alright. Next from here to our south is a giant aquarium. Now, around the top edge of the we will see some giant crayfish. Now, this room has a unique flaw to it. And that flaw is the enemies do not actually walk through this door. And they'll just sit there. So if you're able to, you can grab the aggro and just pop yourself right here. Killing them from a safe position. While they sit there and take it. From here, as you can see, it has several layers. So this inner one with the dirt, it's going to have a bunch of scorpions. Then, as you can see, some sea lions. Personally, I like to just shoot the sea lions as I can see them from here. They kind of can escape. They're literally in an aquarium, so it can be sometimes difficult to hit them. And then at the very bottom we have some manticores. So I'm just gonna actually skip some of these enemies here. Actually no. So we'll hop down in here with the scorpions next. So unlike the other level where we can just literally walk over the edge, the scorpions have a wall on either side. So generally the trick to this room is literally just jump straight down in the center from the top. So you can avoid killing the crayfish, you can avoid killing everything, and just jump from the top down to the bottom that has the not the sea lions here, but the manticores way at the bottom. Now in order to get out, you want to head to the eastern side of this aquarium, and it'll have a kind of a rock face leading up to the top here, which will allow you to jump up and over. And so here's the sea lion bed. It does look like we killed the sea lions there as well. And then finally, the very, very bottom, we have our manticores. I'm just gonna kill them from here because I can. Alright, once you get to the very, very, very bottom, we do have a lever which will open up the door. We also have a trap box right here. If you get the lever before the trap box, what happens is it actually gets rid of all those barriers, allowing all those enemies that you may have skipped to just come rushing right at you. So I definitely recommend, if you have the ability to get that trap box and then pull the lever, you can sneak right in.
To your
So there's that creepy moving mouth.
carved into the stone wall announces your presence in a booming voice.
Alright. So this room here, just like all the rest, we have an end boss kind of fight. It is going to be this Questnf, and he is an ogre mage. Now, he has also a unique little function. Unlike most ogre mages, he actually creates like a mirror self and splits into several different copies of himself. You do see that ability in several other quests, so it's not really a new one, but it is unique to this guy. Like, not all ogre mages have this ability. This one, like the other room there with the crayfish, he doesn't actually know how to leave the room, so we can choose to talk to him. I'm going to choose to skip the dialogue and just go straight into attacking. And what we can do again is just hop right here. He is too large and cannot actually get to us, allowing us to take our time and just kill him. So right now it's the turret that's preventing him, but even without the turret there, as it's destroyed, he can't get out the door. So if you stand too far back, they tend to want to cast spells or use their range, but if you stay right fairly close, they want to try and run at you in melee, but are unable to do so. So he's gonna sit here and want to melee me because I'm within that melee range, but I'm just far enough out of it where he can't quite get to me. And this technique can also be employed in the epic version as well, making that fight super, super simple as he's stuck out there. Alright, so like the others, we have our crest, we have our chest, we also have, if you notice in the corner here, a second chest. This chest is the one that, if you're talking through Questnf, he's going to actually want you to loot something out of that chest. The thing is, this chest is a mimic. And then you'll end up fighting the both of them at the same time, which isn't too bad, but the mimic likes to cast a slowing effect. So if you're fighting him within this room, being slow definitely could be brutal. Once he dies, if you remember approximately where he spawned, you can actually loot his treasure. So the treasure itself is invisible, unfortunately. But if you use the Q function, you would be able to target it. So there, we're targeted on that chest. Face over here, hit Q again. We got the loot. Then all we need to do is hit E to use. And now that we've done all 3 paths, we want to head through our dimension door. Now the crests are basically auto added in.
A voice echoes through the stone passage.
Not thinking of leaving, are you? You've been so very entertaining.
Alright.
I just couldn't think of letting you go, especially with those little items of mine.
So the crests, as soon as you have them, they're auto-placed in those crest slots, so you don't have to run back. As you approach that room, it does spawn in some Ifrits. So we are going to want some fire resistance. So I'm also going to give myself another magic missile here. Or shield to avoid magic missiles. So they spawn right around the corner to our left. Right at the gates. Now, these guys are kind of interesting. There's a total of 4 of them. You start off with 2. As you kill one of them, it's going to spawn in the other 2. So their names are kind of interesting too. So the first couple here is Nyx and Nox. So they kind of have very, very similar names. So I'm just prepping him. So what I like to do personally is I'll prep them. That way I can kill 2 of them quickly. So there, he's ready. So let's take him down. Now as soon as we kill him, Nyx, Nox, and then we have Box and Cock. So basically each set has a similar name. You don't have to drop them together. That's just something I tend to do with that first group, because that way we're only dealing with ever like 2 of them at a time rather than 3. But ultimately it's however you want to deal with them. Once they're all dead, that's it. You can go ahead, enter in their treasure room,
One of the wizard's
trip out at the magic mouth again.
confirms your victory as you enter the treasure chamber.
Well played. I concede this round.
And grab your loot. So we have a pile of gold. We have our chest, which can have some named items. So let's see if we get anything special. We did not. Let's reroll. Echo Wave, a nice little quarterstaff. So yeah, as you can see, there's some pretty pretty powerful ones. There's also a great sword and I believe a hammer that can come out of this as well. So I'm just gonna loot the chest here. And then once we pick up our mysterious page, that'll be it for it. So as you see, it took us 48, almost 50 minutes to get through for 35,000 plus a couple of extra for the optionals. Really, ultimately, not worth it for the XP. It is a fun quest, and in Epic, again, can drop some really nice items, especially if you're trying to level up your sentience jewels. I definitely recommend farming this one here. Alright, anyway guys, thank you so much for joining. It's been a blast as always, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one all.